The English opening starts with the move c4. Unlike opening like e4, the English opening focuses on controlling the d for square. The English opening was named in honor of Howard Stanton, who was the best player in the world from 1843 to 1851. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. So you can actually play the English opening in 3 types. I will cover all 3 of them. So at first we have the stranded English. The stranded English goes with the following moves. Notice I have started a queenside attack. Note the rook on b1 is to prepare b4. He will follow up with b5 to attack c6, supported by the bishop on g2. White could also play e2, e3, and knight g1 to e2 instead of knight g1 to f3. You may recognize this as a closed Sicilian reversed. You can also attack the center with the move e4. So the second type of English is the Stanton system. The Stanton system goes with the following moves. Here we put our knight at e2 rather than putting it on f3, which gives the bishop the open long diagonal. White is preparing the move d4 to gain space in the center of the board. If black captures on d4, he can take with either the e-pawn or the knight on e2. He can even attack with the move f4. At last we have the Botvinnik system. On Botvinnik's system, we are going to attack on the queen side with b4, on the king side with f4, or in the center with d4. If black does nothing about it, he may be able to get in 2 or even all 3 of these moves. The bad news for white is the hole on d4, which black will try to occupy with a knight. So these are the 3 types of English. Well, English has a lot of lines to study, but these 3 are the basic if you want to get started on English. Now, I will play a game which will probably give you some more ideas. So I am going to start with c4, and the opponent responses with e5. I develop my knight on c3, which is a common thing in English. Opponent responds with knight to f6. Then, I push my g2 pawn to g3 to fianchetto. My bishop and opponent responds by developing his another knight. After that, I put my bishop to g2 and opponent develops his dark. Bishop to c5. Now, since my opponent developed his bishop to c5, I block its diagonal by pushing my e2 pawn to e3, which also prepares. The move d4 and f4, opponent castles, and I develop. My knight to e2 being ready for castling 2. Opponent now puts his rook on the e-file, and I respond by castling. Opponent now responds by pushing his d7 pawn forward to develop his another bishop, and I push my pawn to a3, preparing the move. b4. Opponent now puts his white bishop on the e6 square, and that's a mistake. I will show you why. So I start by pushing my d2 pawn to d4. Black responds by taking with the e5 pawn. Then I take back with the e3 pawn, and he has to back off his bishop, and I push my pawn forward, and it's a fork. Remember, this happens real often if your opponent doesn't know the theory of English. My opponent actually resinged after this move, and that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.